Hello there.
Hey folks.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, all.
Hello.
Should we wait for Mac a little bit more? Or should we start?
I had some troubles joining from the community chapter link. So maybe let's just give people another minute. I'm going to paste the Zoom link that actually worked for me in other places. So
Yeah, the one from the community.
yeah, that's what I clicked,
Agenda
and
works.
it just put, well, that one, the agenda, if you go
Yeah.
into the meeting notes, it works, but when I went to the community page and tried to click on the Zoom link on the community page, it totally didn't work. So
Yeah,
be in a waiting
that's
room.
what for me also.
It's the same link, which is what I don't understand. So it doesn't make any sense.
This is a Zoom thing we will
Yeah.
never understand.
We'll never
And
figure
then
it out.
I joined from the calendar invitation.
Okay.
The link in the calendar that took me here, but the link in
Okay.
the community page, it is a different meeting.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, I'll go and check it out right now while you guys get started.
So much fun. In the meantime, maybe we can register the attendee list. Oh. So I would say we try like this. Shall I share my screen? Cool.
Can you make it a little bit bigger? Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Meg, I see here in the agenda, I think you mentioned this is from you that
Now
Anita cannot
that is
join.
left over.
Okay.
I just carried it up there.
Okay. Did anybody had a chance to check this?
It would have been
Uh,
Stacy was working on it, I think, without success, maybe.
Okay. So maybe we copy over and try again.
Yeah, it's been copied over for a couple of times, I think,
Mm.
in hopes.
Stacy, do you have anything you want to mention about the new contributors meeting?
So we had a good attendance, which was awesome. A lot of people there and introduced themselves and a lot of your folks. And then Andre gave a quick overview on how to set up your dev and test environments. And I am going to have a link to that video. I'll put it in the chat in a bit, or I'm sorry, in the docs. So yeah, I think it went great.
Sounds
So
cool.
thanks, Andre, for doing that. And Meg gave a nice little brief overview of what Keptn is. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some more contributors soon.
Great. Speaking of great news, we just released also version 08.2, and this is the first time we release it as a monorepo. This means you can have, we basically release separately each of the components of the of Keptn, and the great thing is that soon to come is a separate Helm chart where you can decide what to install out of the toolkit. So we will be finally be a toolkit. Check it out in the release notes. Then we have a point from Rashid.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to demo the work that I've done in my GSOC for the second term. Can I share my screen?
Sure, I will stop sharing.
I hope it is visible. Okay, so during the first term, I worked on the range.interval field, and I already gave a demo regarding that. It must be available on YouTube, I guess. For the second term, I worked on the aggregation functions, which basically had introduction to a step field and an aggregation field. So now a user would be able to define an interval such as a 5 minute and then a step interval of 1 minute. So like the interval would be divided into 5 parts in this case of 1 minute each. And then an aggregation function would be applied upon that five metrics. The metrics would be received from the metric provider. So I have a deployment, a basic potato head application running already in my cluster and Prometheus deployed in my cluster. I'll just quickly apply the, wait, I'll also show the metric provider. So this is a basic metric provider for just registering Prometheus as the metric provider. And the metric provider has been applied and the Keptn metric has been applied too. Now we can simply get its value. Yeah, so it is working properly. The value is 2.84. So like the data was divided into 5 parts and an average function was applied onto that data, and we finally get a value of 2.84 over here. Now, yeah, that was all for my demo. Just had a quick question while I was preparing for this demo, that should we we have an interval field in the result, should we have same for a step and aggregation?
Probably so.
Would be definitely nice.
Would be nice to see it.
Okay, then I'll raise a PR for it.
And maybe it would be nice if you briefly repeat what aggregation function you implemented, because there are multiple, if I remember right.
Yeah, so the aggregation functions we have are a maximum for the maximum value, a minimum for the minimum value, then an average for the average of the whole data, then a median, then P90, P95, and P99 for the percentiles of the data. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 aggregation functions available.
That's great. And is this documented somewhere? People can check
Not
this
yet.
out. Okay.
Should I do it right now or maybe after the support for showing multiple metrics in the status? Like I was just confused. When should I do it?
It's okay. We can also help the documentation, I guess. It was just a curiosity.
I was just thinking like if you want, I can do it right now, then or else I'll do it after the implementation for multiple metrics.
Get the
Cool, then yeah,
multiple
that was
metric
all.
one is cool feature to have.
Thank you.
Nice. Should we? I think, do we have anything else for the community block? If not, should we go through with the documentation, Meg?
Sure. Do you want to keep sharing? My network's being flaky and I don't have it up on this one, so. And we don't need to hit all of these links. Most of them are just for reference. We did, in conjunction with the 082 release, we did go through the documentation and do the product rename. So there's a couple of references left to Keptn Lifecycle, Toolkit, and KLT for historical purposes. But other than that, you will see Keptn every place. Oh, that is done. If you see something we missed, please let me know fast. This next one, I'd like a little community. I'm not good on titles, but when I was setting up the docs, I have a section, it's called Implementing Keptn Applications or something, which is just a lousy title. And I'm proposing that we rename that section to be user guide, user guides. Does anybody have an objection to that? Do you agree that it would be more interesting? People would be more apt to load good there.
Yeah, but probably with implementing, I would think like I want to contribute to the source code or something. So this is definitely
Right. And it's implementing Keptn applications, which isn't exactly even accurate. It's got the metrics and observability stuff in it. So okay, so I'll do a PR on that today. And then within it to think about long-term, right now there's a series of separate pages in there. There's one for metrics and one for observability or hotel and several about tasks. And I had thought about subdividing it so it would be by the individual modules, which in a way I like, in a way I don't. I'm inclined to leave it sort of the list that's there now. It'll be less work to implement for starters, but leave, so it means all the titles will be, when you click in the left margin on user guide, you'll see all of these titles. And down the line, if we get so many of them there that it becomes unwieldy, maybe we'll have to think about subdividing. Yeah, but that's not a terribly unwieldy.
For now is a normal size.
Yeah.
Anybody has an
Anybody
opinion on
object to
this?
that?
So should we divide it already by category or keep it like it is now?
And I might, like, I think OpenTelemetry should probably be up after Dora. Keptn metrics should maybe be first, and then
They could be together.
Dora,
Yeah.
and then OpenTelemetry.
Task, evaluations, and then maybe
Yeah,
application.
and then we have all the stuff for tasks
Yeah.
and for the evaluations. So, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate. I wanted to see what everybody else thought since I'd already made one bad decision. There's some others there of interest. There's a PR out there. We need a word list. I've been putting it off for forever, and I don't want to get into a big. I've been unfortunately involved in 6-month committees that did nothing but style guide and word lists, and I don't ever want to go again or put anybody else in that position. But there were a couple things that were on my mind, and as I thought, well, if we do this, and then when we're reviewing somebody of PR or something, and you see a word that you think is misused, we can just write that up. So right now we sort of have two things in it. We have
You
a
mean this
little,
one?
yes. And we have a little bit about the product name since we were doing that. And then we have the whole CRD versus resources, etc. A little clarification. I got dinged on it. Now it makes perfect sense to me. So I thought I would try to write that up. So if anybody thinks of something else, you can either ping me and I'll write it up, or go ahead and submit a PR to add it once we get this merged. So,
Yeah, so
other than that,
2049.
yeah. A couple of these, I think a couple of things actually got merged in the last couple of hours, but these are out there. We've got some content and evaluations, took some material that was written up for an old getting started guide and put it in there. It's not wonderful, but it's better than what we had. We have a new page that was developed about how you can use Keptn to run tasks before and after the deployment that's done not on Kubernetes, such as on a VM. So got that written up. We have right now we've just got the existing material there. It needs some work. There's another PR with that, and I got into some trouble, so it's gonna take a while. We had a page there called Working with Keptn Tasks, and somebody else had started another one that was called that had a better title. So I rechanged the title and put a couple of things in there to make sure that it's a good jumping point when you come out of the getting started guide. Does it actually, for a while it had a lot of miscellaneous, very interesting information about implementing tasks, but it didn't have a thing that said, if you want to implement a task, you have to do this, this, this. So that's there. And then I have a question. Nitesh isn't here. I pinged him. I was hoping he would show up. We have a PR that has a few comments on it that were done in July. And I would like that work implemented. I know we now have a policy on something. If you claim an issue and don't do anything on it for a certain amount of time, it gets stale and gets available.
Yes.
Something like this that's been there for 2 months with comments, should we go ahead and take it and just finish it off and merge it?
I guess we could manually remove the assignee if he doesn't want to work anymore. Maybe we should ping him again.
Yes.
We have this stale issue already, so
Mhm.
he should have received.
Oh,
So
and again, Shivang, this is not as stale, but it's been out there for a few weeks without. So I'm working on doing just some miscellaneous cleanup. It's just time to go through the docs and find little things that are. The other thing we're going to do is, since Andre put together the material, the excellent demonstration on how to set up a development environment, we'll add that to the contributing guide, including a link to the meeting that has the video on it also. So, and I think, does anybody else have anything exciting they want to discuss with documentation? I think that's all I've got.
cool. Should we switch over to checking out if we have any refinement ticket?
I would think we're ready.
Yay. Actually, we have 3 tickets that we are already working on. Should we maybe just mention them as for knowledge? I don't think they require refinement on its own.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we can discuss some of them, at least the one that's assigned to me. I have some questions, so we can.
Okay, then let's do this one. Is this guy analysis CRD status pass warning properties are omitted if analysis evaluation failed? Please go. Andre, what's your question? What's
Yep.
this
So
about?
yeah, it's not my ticket, it's from Flaw, but I assigned myself and looked into it previously. So currently we have status.pass or status.warning properties in the analysis CRD status, which are not visible if the status is not set. And I agree with Florian's suggestion that we should actually always have the result if the pass warning is passed or failed or fulfilled, that we have this information always in the status, not regarding in which state the CRD is currently. The thing to this ticket is that, do we want to introduce a state like pending, progressing, finished, or do we want to handle it explicitly? So whenever the status, when we do not have the result, then the pass and warning are set to false. So we explicitly fail until we do not have any other. But I would probably go for the first option. So we have a status.state, which will be equal to pending, progressing, and then finished or completed. And when it's finished, the pass and the warning states will be set. This will basically give us a full information how this can be. What's the state of the analysis actually? I don't know. Yeah.
That sounds better, because then we also don't need that many columns in the, if you look at the second screenshot there. So if we only have one state property, this will make it much clearer.
Way easier, yes. And if somebody's reacting to this CRD, then they don't fail because it's not finished. Yeah, shall we edit this? No, because I'm in the wrong user. Let's not.
I will edit it afterwards when I'm implementing the ticket.
And maybe we refine it next time when this is with everyone again. Or do you want to?
Does it need to be refined?
I don't think so.
We're
It's basically a maintenance. Yeah. Okay. There. What is there another one you would like to have a look at?
We can discuss the top one here.
The juicy one.
Exactly. This is also about improving the representation of the analysis status, because the logic right now is, and this will keep the same, the analysis controller tries to retrieve all the values that's required for the analysis. But in case if not all of them could be retrieved, so for example, like in this instance here, where the server providing the metrics was not available yet, and it stores the results it got so far in the status to reattempt the analysis in the next reconciliation loop. And in this case, in this example here, in the next loop, it was successfully retrieved. As we can see, the analysis status was set to pass through, and we have the raw result, but the state with the stored values from the previous reconciliation loop was not cleaned up. So we still had the error message from the first attempt in there. And yeah, took me around half an hour to figure out that the analysis actually was completed successfully. So we should clean up this stored values property once we're done with the analysis.
I have a question. So we clean up only and only if we have a result true or false from the pass?
When we are finished.
When we are finished,
yeah,
so only in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm wondering what happens if this error is happening twice. Will the status be correctly updated, or will we override the entire stored values? I think we override them.
I also think we do, but that's definitely something to double check.
Yeah. Is there anything else? We do unit test, integration test. You are working already, Flo, on integration test. That's how you follow this out. What do we do? Do we estimate it or do we keep it as a to-do?
I think we can estimate it.
Can we just turn on the camera and raise our hands?
I guess.
Like 1 for small, 2 for 2 for medium, and 3 for large.
Deal. So 1, 2, 3.
Oh, sorry, wrong camera. This sounds to me like a small, medium.
It's medium.
This is medium, okay. But I cannot add it, so can somebody be so nice and add it?
I will do it.
Thanks. Should we check another one? Flo, what about this two you already started to work on? Is it worth refining?
The second one in the list here is relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just about removing the omit empty text. It's quite trivial. And for the second one, I can tell you what I've done so far for that. So if we look at this issue, this is about extending and improving the integration tests a little bit. For the analysis feature, what I've done here is I deploy a mock server in each of the namespaces where we have analysis integration test. And here we can define in a very fine granular fashion what we want to return for certain requests. So therefore we, first of all, don't need a Prometheus instance, a real Prometheus instance running. So we can do it exactly like you show here, yeah. And then I simplified the script that replaces the date, the from and to placeholders, because now we don't need real time frames, but since we are doing the mocked response, we don't really need any real values there, because with the Mac I run into an issue where the command wasn't working. So I simplified that a little bit. And then I moved all the resources that are created for this into a namespace that's created for this particular test. So we're not interfering between each other. And that's it. And I think that's now the groundwork that has been done for adding more tests, and this should be more easier and more better.
Yeah, we can even have load tests now. Yo, think we're done then. Anybody has anything else to say? Last words. If not, let's conclude it here. I cannot stop the recording, so. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Everyone, see you next week.
Yeah,
Have a good
thanks.
week.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye.